I think one of the worst things that the internet has convinced us is that everybody's hobby should be a side hustle. If you learn pottery, you should sell it. If you start photography, you should book clients, you should shoot weddings, you should do this. You like lifting, you should make videos on how to use a kettlebell. You should be a coach. You should be a personal trainer. Oh, you like playing video games? Is that fun? Is that something you like to do to unwind? You should stream it. You should make content about it. You should make commentary about the video games that you do and review the ones that you like and you don't like. Everything has to make money. And I think side hustles, hobbies, interests, external things. The beautiful thing about entrepreneurship and capitalism in this world that we live in is you can really do whatever you want. And if you want to pursue those things, it's pretty sick how you can make a living off of them. However, if you don't want to, it feels like everyone is like, well, why are you doing that if you're not going to do it for real or make money or whatever? And I fall into these traps myself. What's ironic about this is I speak about this as someone whose first passion or hobby of design turned into my entire career. I don't think it was just the internet. I think it's a lot of things combined. I think the internet, I think COVID also exacerbated this. I think just technology in general and there being more jobs that are working for yourself, working from home, whatever. It has made a lot of people think, not only the people doing the hobby, but people around them that see them do the hobby, that it should be content, or every single hobby or interest you do should be some kind of business or thing rather than just for the love of the game. And we see it with the companies that pop up and all the things around us. Everyone knows someone who has a fucking Etsy shop or some shit who just creates some basically like commerce slop and prints like other people's existing IP on like wine tumblers or something and sells it to moms across the United States. And a lot of people that have some kind of content they make or some kind of hobby or interest end up starting some kind of paid course or Patreon or some kind of way they can make a revenue stream from it. And I think there's a part of that that is inspiring and beautiful. And I'm so grateful for the ways that I've been able to make a living and make money off my interests on the internet. But I do know that when something becomes more than a hobby and when there's money involved, when people expect something out of you, when it becomes more official than just something you do for the joy and for fun, it's a completely different thing. I am happy to do what I love every day, but you have to understand that there's a difference between having a hobby for the love of the game and trying to grind it out and do a side hustle. And also, fuck all these courses, man. Like, even people have asked me to make courses. Maybe I would do it one day for some super niche design thing that I thought was really helpful, but I feel like everyone's just making courses, coaching, life coach bullshit, and it's all just stuff that so they can get you on their email list and sell you some other bullshit later down the road. And it's just a cycle of, like, I watch even videos of people making videos about how you can generate leads or make money off other people in the future. They're like, you got to build a relationship with them so later down the road you can make money off of them. It's like they don't even think about it as authentic at all. Like, it's not even about, oh, I built this dope community and relationship. Now maybe they'll want to buy something for me, like the 1,000 Truth fans thing. Cool. No, they're like manufacturing the connection and the fun part of it to make money off of it later. It's silly. When you show interest in playing music or a hobby, or you're creating some kind of clothing, pottery, like I was saying, whatever it is, I've done this myself, and I've seen a lot of other people do this. The first thing people ask you when you tell them about something you're doing is, are you selling these? Or, oh, is that like your job, or is that making you money? It's never, are you enjoying it? Or is this something that is making you happy? Or, oh, how did you get into that? Oh, explain to me more about the art, this and that. This is not nefarious, I don't think, from the people asking you. Because when I've done that myself, I don't mean that either. I'm genuinely interested in, and I probably have some other follow-up questions, but that's where my brain went first. And I think that that's because in this hyper-capitalistic world we live in currently, I think it has tricked us into always equating success or fulfillment or enjoyment into how much money someone derives out of a thing they do rather than how much enjoyment or sometimes just survival it can give that person, if it's something that's really important and sacred to them like that. And I have been this person a lot, like annoyingly. Like I'm making this video, but this is not me on any type of soapbox or any type of holier than thou in this topic. I have a bad problem with this myself, and it's why I have to so sacredly guard like the hobbies and things that I do have, or else I will try to monetize them all. I will try to make little businesses about them. Like my brain just wants to build out entire little worlds of everything I do and go like balls to the wall in every little interest. But sometimes stuff can just be innocent and joyful and less pressure. And I hope that I do that less to other people. But sometimes you don't even know. Like I think I've learned we have so many like maladaptive ways we think growing up from different experiences we've had and whatever, that sometimes you don't even know the things that you're doing to people. I could still be recommending side hustles or whatever to people to this day while simultaneously making this video about how people should stop doing that, and it's bullshit. That's a funny, kind of fascinating thing about the human brain. My own experience, like to credential this or whatever, is I am someone who comes from building an entire life basically off of this self-starter entrepreneur side hustle thing. All the way back when I was in high school, I started a clothing brand when I first started learning how to do graphic design. And the first thing I did was to make some fucking t-shirts. I had this clothing brand called Depravity. I even got it tattooed on my knee. And when I was like 15, 16, I remember being one of the only people with that tattoo in my class, and I was like, what a dumbass idea, though. It's just a shitty logo I made in probably not even Illustrator, probably Photoshop. But anyway, I started this brand, and that was kind of my intro into this side hustle thing, right? And making money and, selling shirts. I had a little website thing. I would sell them in person, sell them online, sell them at school, parties, whatever. And it was cool to be able to make something, screen print it, have ideas. They weren't very good, but it was cool to see them through. So I understand there's also a joy in the spreading of the thing you're doing itself outside of just money. Like making stuff for other people to have is cool. So that led me down a whole deep rabbit hole of graphic design. Anyone who watches my main channel or has seen me spoke on this stuff, I won't bore you with the details. I went to school, worked at a bunch of different jobs, this and that. And now I make a living freelancing full time for the most part, 50, 60% of the time, and also making content about design online. I also did this with YouTube. I got into that. I started making merch. I do podcasts. I do content. Eventually, a lot of the things I'm interested in become work or become part of the greater ecosystem through my design studio, whatever. And it's funny because my entire life is basically proof that monetizing your hobbies can work and can be successful. But that doesn't mean that I think that it's always the best option. I don't think that every single little hobby that everyone has should turn into some lucrative, crazy, in-depth career, because it does take some of the joy out of it, some of the fun out of it. And sometimes it won't even work out. Like if you fail at a thing that you were interested in or a hobby, now you look at that thing in a shitty, dull light. And now it has this gross feeling around it that, it's something I'm not that good at because I failed at making it big time or working at it. But you still love that thing no matter what, even before there was any type of metrics or monetary value involved. And so just know, if you do decide to make, one of your hobbies or interests into a side hustle or into your main hustle, whatever even that means these days, just know that the relationship with that thing will change forever. You can still enjoy it. You can still love it. And you can still be a big person in that, or big, is it proponent? Like advocate for that community, whatever, and still make money off of it and still enjoy it. But it does change that thing. I think that is why I am so precious and guard the hobbies that I do have that aren't like side hustles with everything I have now, because you need stuff like that is separate from your work. When your job is a bunch of different things you're interested in that you work on, it's important to find little ways to separate them from like, no, this is work, this is play, this is rest, this is interests. learning, whatever, all these little segments. One of those big things is definitely video games. Since I was about 3 years old, I've loved video games. I remember getting a PlayStation 1 when I was really small, and miraculously even being able to play some of those games and learn them and figure them out. I really think it helped me not be so lonely. It helped me have a lot of fun. It helped me, I arguably think, get smarter and really increase my motor skills, because in problem solving, and maybe even planted the seeds of why I like design stuff so much too, because I remember creating custom characters on like WWE and creating the clothes or the Black Ops logo emblem editor, stuff like that. And when you're an only child, that stuff is sometimes a saving grace. Some kind of video games or media or movie or some kind of thing you can consume and get into, technology, electronics. And I perverted my favorite hobby before. And you know what? I think video games is probably my favorite hobby. As much as I would not like to admit that on a maybe nerdy level or think like I like other cooler stuff, that's just true. It is. I've loved them since I was a kid. I loved them in the high school, college. I love them now. Maybe a little too much. They distract me sometimes. But anyway, in college, I tried streaming before. This is before any of my endeavors into content with design stuff or podcasts or any of that stuff. And it instantly put a lot of pressure on it, and it instantly took the fun out of it. If I wasn't interested in design or other things that I felt like I could build a career out of or make money, maybe I would have went all in on video game stuff or wanted to be a video game designer, work in that world in some way. But since I didn't, all I was doing was perverting one of my favorite hobbies for some minuscule gains. Like I was literally trying to stream like Fortnite and shit. And I liked that game at the time, but I already know a part of my brain was like, this is a popular game. This is what will get you popular. And that's not the way to do things. I don't think that is a way to build a long, lucrative career in any type of side hustle monetization thing. So when I found that kind of ruined it for me, I tried to vow to myself to not do that so much with my different interests, and especially with video games. So you will not see me, reviewing video games, streaming, making content about them. Maybe I talk about them here and there on the podcast, but I will never make that part of my business unless I completely removed like another whole part of my business, design or whatever, because I like having this unique thing. And I think when you have something that you love like that and you get to be, something pure like video games, like I love that they're solo and they're in real life with friends, they're online with friends. I have this thing that I can do just for me and is fun, and I can connect with other people and myself and my friends. If you have something like that yourself, riding bikes, some kind of sport, whatever, I used to build Gunpla and shit during COVID. That was my COVID phase, like designing those little, building those little action figures, like stuff like that. If you have a thing you really like, really try to protect it, because we're living in a world filled with other people and corporations and businesses that entire goal is to take that one precious thing from you and extrapolate it into a thing that can make money. So if you want to do that, go ahead. Like I said, it's a very nuanced argument coming from someone like me, but try to protect some of your few hobbies. That's for sure. If you turn your main love hobby into a career, you need a new hobby. That can't be your hobby anymore. It doesn't work. It doesn't matter how much you think you still enjoy it on the side. I still love doing art and design on the side as a hobby and for fun, but I still need other stuff to do to disconnect from that world. When you put that pressure on a hobby, it instantly ruins it. When there's money involved, when there's an audience involved, when there's content involved, any type of thing, you start asking yourself, is this thing worth my time? Am I even any good at this thing? Is this something I should even be doing at all anymore? Is it productive? How could I get this to perform better? How can I optimize my routine around this thing? Should I post this? Should I post that? What if people think of me differently for this? Blah, blah, blah. And you start asking all these wrong questions, and you start thinking about things like a business, like you should if you're really trying to pursue a thing. But you really should be asking, is this thing fun? That is the main thing that a hobby should be doing, not all that other stuff. And the more I'm thinking about it, even talking this out now in this episode, is maybe side hustles shouldn't exist at all. Like, yeah, they have to build up into a main hustle. But I think if you're going to make a business out of a hobby or interest you have, like I said, you're throwing away that thing as a pure enjoyment hobby thing. So your goal should probably be to make it your main hustle. You're not going to want to do that and have your full-time job. And I know you got to grind and get to different points, and sometimes it takes a while for things to take off. I've had the side hustle of being a freelance designer while I worked as an employee somewhere. I get that. But I still had hobbies and stuff in the meantime, and I think it's important. And the most important thing, maybe not the most important thing, I don't know. I say that a lot, but about a lot of the different talking points. One thing that I think people forget that's really important is when something is just a hobby, it gives you permission to be bad at it. It gives you permission to just do it for fun. You don't need to be very good at it. You don't need followers. You don't need to improve at a constant linear rate. You can have ebbs and flows. You can just completely enjoy something and do it for the love of the game and suck at it. Like, that almost feels radical now in the world that we live in, that doing something and allowing yourself to be bad at it. And I've noticed when I have different hobbies, when I had design as a hobby, video games, rock climbing, whatever, when you get really proficient at one thing, it's really hard to start a new thing and be bad at it. But when you accept that and when you fully surrender to the fact that you're a beginner in this thing, it's great. And then after doing it for a few years or whatever, getting interested into this thing, you'll look back and see all the progress that you made without over optimizing things, without trying to do it performatively, but just doing something because you loved and enjoyed it. I can't even go rock climbing right now, which was one of my main hobbies. I've been working out instead because I hurt my finger. It's all like crooked and shit. And since I've been doing that, I realized, like, not only did that hobby, climbing, was that something that I loved and enjoyed and got better at, but it also taught me that I like overall fitness and I like being stronger and I like feeling better, and not in a competitive or egotistical or aesthetic way, but in a functional way. I like having this like functional strength. So I've been getting into more workouts that help me with that. Kettlebell, body weight stuff, like calisthenics, things like that. And you know, I'm not winning no fucking awards or anything. I don't look jacked or anything like that at all yet. But it's like I'm saying, I'm doing it and I'm kind of bad at it still, but I'm doing it because I like it and because I enjoy it. And when you do make a career out of something like I've done with design and stuff, these things I'm saying I think become even more important. The hobbies become even better. And I think something that is really beautiful about a hobby versus a job or a side hustle is also the community around it. Not every single hobby has a community or is a third place or has other people you interact with, but a lot of them do. Like I was saying, climbing, not only did I do that with some of my friends where we'd go to the gym together, but I became friends with some of the people that I would see there. And it's really cool to be a regular somewhere or to be recognized in a space by not strangers, kind of friends, kind of acquaintances, but people that you know are going to be in that same place at a similar time as you. And that's when something becomes an official third place. And I think that's when a hobby becomes even more fulfilling. I also have stuff right now, like I love my friends and community that we do this like brewery trivia. And trivia, that's my nerdiest hobby, way more than video games. And it might not be a hobby per se because I'm not doing it by myself or practicing it, but I love learning new things and gathering knowledge and going to the fucking bar and getting drunk with my homies and playing some really competitive trivia. And it's also part of the weekly kind of routine and everything, and that feels good. I like the community around gaming in person. I've been to LAN parties. I've had tournaments at friends' houses. We've played Mario Party stuff. I've done fucking LAN parties with everyone's computer set up to play whatever shooter game we were into at the time. If you have an interest, you can meet new people that way too. And I think a lot of these things I feel like I've been talking about lately, there is a lot of connective tissue and through lines through all of them. Finding interests, people being more isolated with the internet. The internet also driving us into these side hustle money things. And let's say you make a hobby a side hustle, it becomes less about the community because now these are your competition or your customers or whatever, rather than people in the community. If you get into, go to a pottery class, go to record stores and chop it up with people that have those same interests in you. If you like reading, I'm not a big reader. I read some nonfiction books and things, but I'm not super interested in it. For example, like my wife is, but she likes to consume content and talk to people about books. You can join a book club. There's real communities in almost any possible interest you can have. That's kind of the funny duality to this thing, is the internet has forced us into thinking that everything needs to be a business. But on the positive side, it has opened it up to showing you this infinite world of other people out there that have this similar interest. If you use the internet as a tool to help connect you to other people and become more social rather than become more isolated and less social, then I think that you've won, and you are playing the game of this crazy world that we live in correctly. And when you have real communities, that's what I think, puts the social part in social media, and you can kind of fucking duck and dodge some of the negative aspects that come with using those kind of apps and things too much. As much as I'm over here ranting about don't make this a business, don't be a side hustle, I don't think money and currency is entirely evil. And I'm not trying to be anti-business. I don't want to stop people from starting a small business or being an entrepreneur or creating something cool with something that they're interested in. I think there's also a lot of merit to that, and that can be really awesome. I wouldn't tell my younger self not to pursue design or not to pursue creating content or not to pursue any of the awesome things that I've done that were side hustles that turned into bigger things. This Glue FM podcast itself is right now a side hustle. It's more like a hobby because it's not making any money or anything, but it's something that I'm trying to take serious and do on the side, but also has a little bit less pressure than a main thing. So I would have done those things. And I think it's awesome when you can turn a hobby or an interest into a business. But I really just, I guess, wanted to stress that it changes that thing forever. And if I could go back and look at all the different hobbies and interests I've had, I would try to at least protect one or two of them from the start and not mess them up at all. Just draw fine lines between work and play. And it's almost kind of like work-life balance, but in this weird interest hobby way. It's up to you to decide what stuff's important to you. And if the hobby is so meaningful to you that you don't want to even make money off it ever, that's fine. And don't let people tell you you need to sell your art or you need to sell courses on something you're really good at. Or even if you are the best fucking musician in the world, you don't have to make music for other people. You can just do it for yourself and be in a band, whatever. And I do that all the time to my friends who are starting bands. Come on, you got to play a show. You got to put out an album. Let me design the album art, this and that. But that's not what it's about. They can move at their own pace and people can enjoy the things that they want in their own way. If you want to make a small business, do it. Dope. If you want to just have things for a hobby, that's also cool and has just as much value, I think, in this world. Some people can make businesses out of things, and some people, we can be amateurs at other stuff. Everyone needs interests in other things. Not everyone needs to be an expert or an influencer or a creator or entrepreneur or any of these buzzwords that we have now in this creator economy thing or whatever. It's okay. We need more people who just want to play the guitar badly and suck at it, or not be that good at painting but explore it because it makes them happy, or try out cooking even though they might not even ever be good at it, but they do it because it's fun, or to experiment or to try. I've tried a bunch of different random things and sucked at them, and sometimes I stick with them, sometimes I don't, but it feels good to at least try. And man, when you get hyper fixated on a new hobby, for a guy like me, that shit is fucking addicting. Getting really into it, learning all this stuff, trying to figure out which gear to buy. Don't waste too much money on it, but don't buy the shitty stuff either, because the buy it right or buy it twice thing. But when you realize hobbies can be temporary, you can come back to them, you can pursue them permanent, and everything doesn't have to be monetized or recorded or documented or content made around it. It doesn't have to be tainted by media or capitalism or anything, and you can just have this cool thing, that's cool. Other people don't even have to know about it. If you want to try a hobby that way, it's even less pressure, because if you suck at it and you're embarrassed or whatever, you could tell absolutely nobody. Or you can tell people whatever. Like, that's the beauty. You can have these awesome things that you do, and you can either turn them into an empire, or they could just be something you suck at that you like to do in your garage. And I think either way, it's just as cool. There's freedom in being mediocre, and there's a lot of value in being excellent at stuff too. At the end of the day, if you have a lot of money or a cool career or an amazing partner, if you have a lot of these things that make you feel like you should be fulfilled in life, or you feel like you figured it out, but you still can't quite feel real good each day, then I think I'm highly suspect that what you might need is a good hobby. Having an amazing hobby that doesn't need to be an income stream, that doesn't need to have any pressure on it, just be some little thing that can bring you some more joy each week, each day, each month, whatever cadence you want, and give you a little bit more play in your life. Try it out. Who knows? And I would love to hear what kind of hobbies you guys have been into and what kind of communities are out there. Love exploring new stuff. That's what I've been thinking about this week. Let me know what's on your mind lately. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, like, rate, all that jazz. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.